Revenge films.
I met my husband, Ted, at the company orientation where we prepared lunch and organized the conference room together. He was kind and thoughtful, and we started dating naturally. I worked there for about a year until the people in the office started talking about us, which made me uncomfortable and led me to look for another job. A friend of mine timely started up a company and asked me to join the force. I didn't think twice about it and said yes. Ted and I continued dating, and after 2 years, we tied the knot. My friend's business was starting to stabilize by then, and I started thinking about having children. That's when Ted's adultery was found out. I couldn't believe it at first, but coming from my former coworker, Kate, who works at the same office as Ted, I had to admit the source was reliable. Ted seemed to be having an affair with a woman from his client company. The woman started dropping by Ted's office, and the two were seen together frequently. And one day, Kate saw them together in the street, walking arm in arm after work. He knew that people in the office knew about us, but now that I wasn't there, he wasn't careful that much anymore. People see things, and his coworkers are also my former coworkers. I thought about confronting him, but all I had at that point was word from Kate. He could have brushed it off easily. I decided to gather more evidence and hired a detective agency for investigation and waited for a month with a poker face. Having no idea about what I'd been doing, he wasn't careful at all. Enough evidence was collected in a month. With the help of some of my former coworkers, evidence was also gathered inside the office. Among them was a photo of the two kissing in the archive room I used to use often. I wanted to divorce him more and more each day. One night, when I had enough evidence, I told Ted we should talk. I laid out all the photos on the table. My former coworkers confirmed that you've been having an affair. These photos clearly show it. I'm filing for a divorce.
Sure, let's get a divorce as you wish.
Ted wasn't upset at all, but rather grinned as if he was waiting for this moment. Now I was upset. I didn't expect it to go like this at all. How could he stay calm like this? I thought he would at least be embarrassed or make excuses. I didn't understand what he was thinking until I heard what he said next.
Let's divide the assets now that we agree on divorce.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Don't you know? We must divide the common property equally when we divorce. So you have to give me $75,000 of your $150,000 savings.
So he thought he would get half of my savings even though he had to pay me a little compensation, which wasn't a bad deal for him. That's why he wasn't upset at all. After listening to what he had to say, I took a quarter out of my wallet and put it on the table. Ted ranted, throwing the coin at the wall. He demanded my money, so I had to educate him a little. Don't you know? The common property you're talking about means money we made together after we're married. That doesn't include the inheritance money from my mother. By the way, the balance of our joint account was about 50 cents after you put the money down on that new car last month, so here, you get 25 cents. After listening to what I had to say, Ted became pale and couldn't say anything for a moment. He looked very confused. His easy plan to get both money and his lover was now crumbling before his eyes. Now he came back to the man I knew.
Wait, hold on. I was joking about divorce. That affair didn't mean much to me. You're the only one I really love.
Couldn't he come up with something better? With all this evidence before him, that's all he could say? Of course, I had no intention of talking further with him. I just put the divorce papers on the table. He said he wouldn't agree, he wouldn't sign, so I said I would talk to his parents and tell them everything. Then he finally, reluctantly, agreed to it. Both of Ted's parents were old-fashioned, and his father in particular was strict and righteous, whom Ted was still afraid of. I knew that his parents were the ticket. I'm glad he changed his mind easily after this and practically agreed to everything I suggested. Of course, I didn't forget about his mistress. I had enough evidence on her as well and sent it to her company. She called Ted in a panic. Ted had told her that he would get substantial money from me, and she went on a shopping spree. But that money won't be coming in, and she was responsible for what she spent on herself, on top of the compensation to pay me. She soon found herself deeply in debt. Words were out in her office, which made her uncomfortable to stay there. Yet she couldn't quit either with all her debt. Her office job wasn't enough to pay it off, and she had no choice but to take a night job. With all that on the side, she and Ted couldn't continue their sweet dream, and she dumped him bitterly. Meanwhile, Ted was fired for his immorality and misconduct after he used the company's meeting room and archive room for adultery, without me doing anything to his company. Besides, some of my former coworkers who were aware of his adultery gave him cold shoulders. With my money and his lover in it, his pipe dream didn't last long. After being fired and incurring debt, he must be shocked, and I feel sorry for him, although he deserves all the debt he owes. Our apartment was affordable only with both of our incomes, and he couldn't afford it by himself. Now he had lost his job and had to terminate the lease quickly, so he moved into an old apartment and worked at the gas station at night and at the construction site during the day. He couldn't hide his divorce very long from his parents either. They cut ties with Ted after his relative told them the details. After losing everything, Ted came to me begging.
I'll never cheat on you again! Please, take me back! You're the only one I have!
Wrong. I wasn't his for a long time. Who would reconsider a man who demands my inheritance from my mother after having an affair? He well deserves these hard labor days ahead of him. Serves him right. After all this, I invited my former coworkers to eat out, who were helpful to me. Kate, who informed me first, said she thought hard if she should tell me or not at first. But thinking about a long life ahead, she thought I deserved to know the truth, and I thanked her for that. If not for her, how much longer would I have wasted my life being deceived? Having no children with him turned out to be the best thing about my divorce. It's always the children who are put in the middle of the adult problems. But if I can have another chance to meet someone, I really want to grab happiness next time.
How was today's video? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Stay tuned for more.